This is the art of selling travel. We're diving in to give you useful and practical tips on how to make more money starting now. We're pulling back the curtains on the best sales strategies to show travel professionals how to close more sales and create raving fans. Helping travel advisors master the art of selling travel. You can't market your way out of a selling problem. This is the art of selling travel. And here to guide you through it all, Glenda Beagle.
Welcome back. Today is all about keeping it simple, which also means we're going to keep it really short. So often I hear from travel advisors, how do I get my clients? How do I qualify my clients? How do I make sure that I'm only doing consultations with the right clients? So the first and foremost tip that I'm going to give you is making sure that your marketing and your website are going to help your clients to self-identify. In the show notes, so if you go to artofsellingtravel.com/show notes, you are going to see under episode 2, I'm going to link in my go-to resource for building websites for travel advisors. It's an amazing company. They have a fabulous copywriting team, a fabulous design team. So definitely check them out. But you want to make sure that when your clients are coming to your site, when they're coming to your social feeds, when they're coming to everything, they're going to self-identify that way. Too often, travel advisors like to think that if I give them a really long questionnaire, I can get them to self-identify that way. Here's the problem. Depending on what your actual market is, you might actually be self-identifying the exact market you want to have, except they're going to say, this isn't for me because that's not how I want to do business. So it's really important that you look at who it is that you're trying to attract. Are you trying to attract a luxury or high-end premium client? If that's the case, they don't want to fill out questionnaires. Quite frankly, if they're in the luxury market, they pay people to fill out those sorts of things for them. So you're still never going to get the actual answer. What you want to do is get them booked for a consultation. I love doing consultations via Zoom because then you can get that body language included in there. You can see how they're reacting. You can see whether or not they're even paying attention to you, because if they're not going to pay attention to you in the consultation, it's going to be that much harder to get their attention later. But the thing is that if you give them this questionnaire and you want to have them fill out their dates, you want to have them fill out their destination, their hotel style, their this, their that, all these sorts of things. How are you different than any online travel agent site, like an Expedia or an Orbitz or whatever all those sites out there are? You're really not. And in fact, they have to fill that all out in order to schedule an appointment with you, which may not get to take place for a couple of days. If they have to do all that work, why will they not just go on to Expedia, Orbitz, Red Tag? I can't even think of all those companies because I never use them. But why would they work with you rather than just inputting all that information and getting instant results? Instead, you want to make sure that you're not going into your consultation with preconceived notions. And that's going to come if you decide that you're going to have this questionnaire that they have to fill out. You want to make sure that you are going into it as open as they are. A lot of times people have absolutely no idea how to answer things. And in fact, if you say, what are your dates? I've seen some questionnaires where they must put in dates. The reality is the client's like, I don't know, I can go anytime between now and 9 months from now. But yet when I say to them, okay, are there any dates that we need to avoid? Suddenly we're down to like a 2-week window. Clients don't know how to answer these questions. That's why they're going to a travel professional. When they already have all the answers, they don't need you. So you want to make sure that you're lowering that barrier of entry, because the other thing is if you get them to fill out that questionnaire, you get them to get thinking about those answers, they're like, okay, you know what? Right. Okay. This is when we want to go. Okay. Well, I can't book that appointment for 3 days. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and schedule it now. And then, look at that. Oh, look what just popped up in my social feed. Well, this says I could go to Hawaii. Yeah, I was just thinking Hawaii might be an option, and then they're going to go down a rabbit trail. You don't want them thinking too far in. Because the other thing is a lot of times when I talk to travel advisors, they'll say, when I get on the consultation, the client thinks they already know what they want to do. Well, again, the more questions you put in a questionnaire ahead of time, the more you're going to solidify things in their mind. Whereas in order to do a really effective consultation, you need to be able to have that be malleable and to be able to be flexible and other such. So do yourself a favor, keep it super simple, and just simply ask for their contact information. Get an email and a phone number if you can. And if you're using a premium service like Calendly or Acuity or things like that, there is ways with a premium plan of being able to get to be able to text so that it automatically sends a text in addition to an email beforehand. That's just a great feature as a whole, by the way, in under the keeping it simple, because you don't want to have to remember to send out email reminders and things like that. Program it in your system so that it automatically sends 10 hours, 12 hours, an hour before, whatever it is, just to remind them. I know that sometimes I forget about my appointments, so those reminders are great. And you can actually set it so it reminds you as well. So it's not just, oh goodness, that's coming up in 15 minutes. I get a reminder 12 hours before every single one of my Calendly appointments, so that way I know that I've got something coming up rather than doing the last minute shuffle. When you have done your consultation while you're going through your consultation, you want to find out how it is your clients prefer to do communication. Do they prefer it through email or text or phone call? I will always recommend phone call or video call when you're presenting your proposal. When you can have actual conversations where you can hear their voice, where you can even see their expressions, things like that, you're able to cut through so much more. I don't know about you, but I've had conversations with clients where they're like, that's great. And then there's this long pause because they stopped themselves from saying something. And then I'll say, oh, were you going to say something? They're like, oh, no, it's not important. I'm sorry. Those are probably the most important thoughts that they're going to have. And if you're working strictly on text and email, you're never going to hear those. So it's so absolutely critically important that you get your clients back on the telephone to increase your close rate. If you take one thing ever out of all of these podcast episodes as a nugget, even if we never work together again, take this one. This is the one to pay attention to. Always get them on the phone. Text and email leaves you as this oblivious sort of person out there. Always get them on the phone. One, it's a lot harder to ignore you when you're on the phone because you're going to ask them straight out, can we go ahead and put a credit card down on this? Are you ready to make payment on this? They have to actually answer. Otherwise, with an email, they're like, yeah, I'll get around to that. Or a text, yeah, get around to it. You aren't a person in so many ways of the psychology of the buyer if it's all digital. When you can actually talk to them, you're going to have a different sort of connection with them. When you know how your client prefers to be contacted, you also know that you're not going to be bothering them. But just as a tip too, if your client reached out to you to ask for the quote to get this information, you're never bothering them because they're the ones that approached you. So in today's episode, the summary of it all is keep it simple. Don't ask too many questions ahead of time. Just get them on the consultation. If you're concerned your clients aren't going to be qualified, then it's time to look at your website, look at your marketing, and see if you are putting out messaging that's going to be too broad, or if your messaging and marketing is very, very specific to the exact ideal type of client that you want to attract. Until next week, we'll see you later.